Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
Welcome to Track Talk, your connection coast to coast and beyond in all the latest news, developments, stake race analysis, and interviews inside the world of thoroughbred horse racing. From California to New York, Florida, and Kentucky, we have you covered. It's post time, live from San Diego. It's Track Talk. And we welcome you on a Saturday morning live from San Diego. A happy new year from all of us here at Track Talk to all of you out there as the day becomes a big weekend of a Saturday in the month of January because a lot of owners having to start thinking about the Kentucky Derby Trail. And today at Santa Anita, a modest prep race that will put us onto the Kentucky Derby Trail will be the Sham Stakes. It'll go as race number 5, 1 mile, grade 3 for 3-year-olds, preceded by 4 maiden races in a row. The first through the 4th are all maiden races, followed by the Sham, followed by another maiden race for fillies and mares carded as race number 6. Allowance optional claiming race, a mile and a 16th, 4 and upward, is carded as the 7th race. The 8th race is the San Gabriel, a mile and an 1/8, a grade 2 for 4 and upward. The 9th is an allowance optional claiming race, and so is the 10th race. So we have a 10-race card and a full action-packed day of racing from coast to coast. Inside the studio we go. Tommy D, a happy new year, and off and running we go.
Happy New Year. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, horse racing back in effect going into the new year, and I think you nailed the head on the hammer there. I always mess that up. But the Sham, the grade 3, we're looking at 2 promising horses here, that could be Derby contenders. You're looking at number 1, Authentic, and 4, Azul Coast. They both come out of the Bob Baffert barn, and both of these horses are getting hyped up. Authentic 8-5 this morning, and 5-2 for Azul Coast. Azul Coast has won at the mile distance, where Authentic will be stretching it out for the first time. But these might be 2 horses we talk about moving forward, Felix.
Well, we got a lot of 3-year-olds, and it's a long way to go to the first Saturday of May. But we'll iron it all out for you, and we'll bring you the movers and the shakers as we proceed and move forward. Let's go up to Santa Anita. Let's be joined, and let's get joined. And we are joined with Larry Zapp, the Zapper. A happy new year, my friend.
Hey, happy new year to all. Horses all turned another year older on January 1st. Santa Anita, it's just, I'm sitting here right now. We've been, we obviously switched a couple of posts around first post, so it closed early today. The horses are still on the training track. It's beautiful out here. The meets kicked off with a bang as far as I'm concerned. They added a couple extra races on a couple of days when they pushed it forward from the December 26th to December 28th, and all is good, Felix. Good card today. I had to really dive into this card today because I'm going to be Tom Quigley's special guest on the handicapping seminar on all the unit tracks. So I'll definitely give a shout-out, and like I said, I think it's a pretty good card for a Saturday afternoon. Beautiful day.
Yeah, what'd you make of the first 4 races all being maiden races?
I had to do what a handicapper has to do, find all my resources, dig deep, and I like maiden races, especially on tracks, because I can, like you like to do, I can spot them out of the paddock, but, the first, that's why I'm glad they're at the beginning of the card. A couple of them are not too inspiring, a couple of them are more inspiring, but it gets stronger as the card goes on, and you guys were talking about the Sham Stakes, and I'm going to throw one more in to the mix, Tommy D. You might think it's a Baffert fest, but I really believe Richard Baltus, who's off to just a phenomenal start here at the Great Race Place. And remember, Richard Mandela wins the Malibu with Omaha Beach, who's now down in Florida pointing for the Pegasus. And when he was interviewed, first thing out of his mouth, remember, this is the Great Race Place, because Santa Anita had a tough 2019, but promising look ahead. But Tayshawn for Richard Baltus. This is son of Twirl and Candy, though. It's very impressive in his second start, his stretch-out race, and I don't think it's a Baffert exacta at all. I think Tayshawn's going to be hers from today. We'll get into that as the show goes on, but just all systems go. 2020, we got the right attitude, Felix. We got the right show, and we need to get on the we need to get some votes so we can be on the radio show's list for whatever the award I read about, America's whatever racing. Just why weren't we mentioned? And we'll talk about that as the year progresses, but can't wait to just start diving into some races with you and Tommy D, and let's just have a great year. Safety for horses first, but good racing so far at Santa Anita.
Don't get me started on that American's Best Racing stuff, because neither we or any other California radio show was even nominated for anything. It was all East Coast bias, and they can have whatever they want. We know what we do and what we have done. And basically, my question to you was, is this sending a signal to what we kind of expect from California racing, with the first 4 races being all maiden races?
Is it a signal? That's a good question, Felix. Obviously, Racing Secretary's job is to fill races. We've had some 10-11 race cards since canceling because of the rain the first 2 days of racing. I just think it's intelligent positioning. I mean, I know the early pick 5 captures a lot of people's imagination, but I'm always a believer the end of the card, the meat of the card is toward the middle to the end of the card. So I don't mind the maiden races personally, but I understand what you're saying. It's obviously races we're just filling, and I think they've been very consistent with maiden races as compared to obviously winter races, claiming races, allowance races, stake races. I think it's been a good balance so far at the meet. It just so happened to lie that way today.
We talk about the Sham carded as the 5th race. It's a purse of $100,000 for 3-year-olds going 1 flat mile. Tommy D, who do you give your check mark to in this race?
Geez, the Sham. This is a tough one. As Zap did mention to Shan, this horse did also win a mile at Santa Anita, so that's a good sign. Baltus, Grider staying up, Twirl and Candy, love the sire there. So definitely a horse to keep an eye out for. But I think I'm going to go with number 4, Azul Coast. This horse won by 4 at the mile distance. Baffert, we got Rosario back over here. Got to love Rosario on any of your horses. $320,000 purchase. Super Savers, the sire here. I like 4, Azul Coast. And then the other horse is number 1, Authentic. This horse broke its maiden nicely at Del Mar this fall. You got Baffert and DVD in the mischief. This horse was a $350,000 purchase. Highest speed figure in the race here, Felix. The question will be, is going the distance. The pedigree says it will, but Azul Coast proven itself already. Between the two, I'd probably take number 4, Azul Coast, but I think it's going to be a good battle today.
Good battle in the Sham. What about you, Zapper? Who do you give your check mark to in race number 5?
Well, Felix, I was between 2 horses here, and, obviously to me, even though Authentic is not routed, he won with such authority first time out. Authentic draws the rail. He probably will have to go. He showed enough speed first time out. He's the horse to beat, no doubt about it. Into Mischief, becoming one of the ones as a sire, one of the top sires in North America or in the world for that matter. The Mr. Greeley mare, so we're not guaranteed 2 turns makes him better, but he should get the distance. He seems to have a good mind. I noticed on his workouts they work him by himself, so he's not an aggressive sort. He's the horse to beat, but like I mentioned at the top of the show, number 6, Tayshawn, really impressed me. Started back in March. I made my very short list at a 2-year-old sale back at OBS. I didn't buy him. Richie did. And, he came out of a sprint race in August and showed up at Santa Anita around Breeders' Cup time, and boy, was he impressive. And I know Richie had been pointing him possibly to Los Alamitos, but passed on that race to point to this race. And I think he's got a lot of nice works in tow, and I think he's going to make a race of it. His 2-turn experience, no doubt, gives him an edge. Azucos, very impressive at Los Al, but I'm going to go for me 6-1 in the Sham, race number 5.
Yeah, Zap. I like this race. It's going to be an interesting one. Could be a potential a couple Derby horses in the mix here. How about number 3, Uncaptured Hero? This is another Baltus horse, and I know this horse is first time out didn't have the best trip. Next time out, it won. Made it 100K. But Pratt is the rider there. That's what caught my eye. Do you know anything about number 3, Uncaptured Hero, here in the Sham?
Yeah, I think Richie Baltus is like Doug O'Neill has a lot of horses now, and I see this horse as a filler. He won a maiden $100,000 race. He gutted it out. He did that sprinting. Uncaptured tends to throw more of a sprint type of horse. He's also out of Mr. Greenland there. I just think he might be the horse that becomes the sacrificial lamb and keeps the one horse authentic, honest, until Sean gets that beautiful trip. So that's what I see him as. I see him as almost a rabbit in this race.
All right, we're going to come up to our first break on this Saturday morning along with Tommy D and Larry Zapp. I'm Felix Taverna. You're listening to Track Talk, produced by Wade Taylor inside the WS Radio Studios here in San Diego. Zapper, I was just wondering, you weren't celebrating early in that Indiana-Tennessee football game the other night, were you?
You know what, Felix? I went to our farm that we keep the babies and the mares at up north, and I was in Solvang at a beautiful hotel having great dinner with Joe Ciaglia, and I checked in a few times in the bar area and saw we were up 22-9, and I came back and talked to amazing Amanda and told her, I think we've got this one locked up with 8 minutes to go. I don't need to check anymore, and about an hour later, I looked at my phone, and that's all I can tell you. I could not believe it, and then I watched the highlights. 23-22, Tennessee. Heartbreaker for a football program trying to go somewhere.
All righty. Well, they had a nice little year. When we come back, Bob Verratti, the owner of Independence Hall, going to join us on the radio.
Have you tried DRF Formulator PPs at DRF.com? Take your handicapping to the next level with premium features not found in DRF Classic PPs, including one-click access to complete race charts, full-screen video replays with both standard and head-on views, add your notes for a card, horse, or trip, and access from any device. View Timeform US pace figures, get customized printing options, and so much more. Try DRF Formulator PPs today at DRF.com/PPs.
Hi, this is Felix Taverna, and I'm here to share with you a great place to begin your day, and that is the Broken Yoke Cafe. 15 San Diego locations to serve you. Downtown, Mission Valley, Bonita, East Lake, San Diego State, Point Loma, Mira Mesa, Del Mar, La Costa, Escondido, Oceanside, San Marcos, and Rancho San Diego. Benedict's, omelets, French toast, crepes, pancakes and waffles, sandwiches, wraps, burgers, soups, and salads. Start your day at the Broken Yoke Cafe. Hi, everyone. Felix Taverna for Rough and Ready Moving and Storage. From down the street to across the country, if your move is too tough, you call Rough. That's my man, John Ruff, R-U-F-F, Rough and Ready Moving and Storage. Local or cross-country, military moves, corporate relocations, packaging, storage, they have it all in the Temecula Valley. That's roughandreadymoving.com. That's Rough and Ready, R-U-F-F, and readymoving.com. When you talk about San Diego legends, you got to talk about Big John at Tip Top Meats, a European delicatessen unlike anything in San Diego. You know, it's located in Carlsbad, and traditionally, it's been a fan favorite for many. Big John does it right. With the holiday season just around the corner, it's your best bet. Big John, tip-top meats, and top-shelf fish. I mean, that's a daily double. You've been there, you know, it's legendary. The most trusted information provider in horse racing is now the leading logic in sports handicapping. The daily racing form has launched DRF Sports. Visit sports.drf.com to learn more and get the edge you need to win big. Access their exclusive database of trends and powerful angles for just $5 per week. And if you use promo code PENNY, you'll get your first week for just 1 cent. Visit sports.drf.com today.
Life is full of misadventures, from car crashes to home fires to getting choked out on the mat. Yes, I said getting choked out because I'm Carlos Kramer, jiu-jitsu competitor, MMA and media personality, and mild-mannered insurance agent. You can follow my adventures on Kick-Ass Radio, and I can protect you from life's misadventures at Kramer Insurance. Home, auto, life, business, and workers' comp. We're at KramerINS.com, and I want you to join my world.
Talk to me. WSRadio.com.
Welcome to Track Talk, your connection coast to coast and beyond in all the latest news, developments, stake race analysis, and interviews inside the world of thoroughbred horse racing. From California to New York, Florida, and Kentucky, we have you covered. It's post time, live from San Diego. It's Track Talk.
All right, we're back here, the second quarter, approaching the half-mile pull. Down the stretch they come as we dive into the 10-race card at Santa Anita with 4 main races to kick it off, followed by the Sham. As mentioned, 3-year-olds going a mile. It's a grade 3, and then followed by the San Gabriel, which is the 8th race of a 10-race card here at Santa Anita. It is time for the Triple Crown prep races, and as Larry Zapp mentioned on the top of the broadcast, as the calendar turned to January 1, all those 2-year-olds became 3-year-olds, and we saw a nice 3-year-old win at Aqueduct on New Year's Day. His name is Independence Hall, and we are joined by the owner of Independence Hall, a longtime friend of this radio program, along with his lovely wife, Kathleen, who eyed this colt out of the Keeneland sale back in September of 2018. Boy, what a great eyeball this was, because he's been a perfect 3 for 3. We are joined by Bob Verratti. Bob, a top of the morning and a Happy New Year to you.
Good morning, Felix. Same to you. Happy New Year to you and all your listeners.
Well, thank you very much for that. Wow, just an amazing situation that took place at Aqueduct prior to the race. This was Jim Brown, Franco Harris, Earl Campbell, all rolled into one trying to saddle this colt, as he was trying to let everybody know that he was truly an athlete. You've owned a lot of horses, Bob. Have you ever seen an equine act so feverishly like Independence Hall did on that Nashua Stakes Day?
I can truly say I haven't. It's quite an extraordinary exhibition, which, of course, we prefer it not happen. I mean, as my wife Kathleen said, he looked like he was trying to imitate Baryshnikov in there with some of those unique moves and jumps. But we'll get it figured out. And Mike Trombetta's on it, and I think we'll get him calmed down. It's been 2 months, since his last race, so he was really excited and ready to go.
Yeah, he's definitely really excited, and he played the part. He looks the part. He is the part. Bring us back to how it all came together for you. Did you eye this colt out yourself at the Keeneland September sale?
Well, there have been many stories written in the last few days about various people involved in the ownership of this horse, but I think a significant part of the story is in September of 2018, Dennis O'Neill and I went to September sale, and I told Dennis I'd like to buy a few horses to pinhook. So Dennis went through the catalog. We looked at the kinds of horses we thought we could afford within our budget, and also, we wanted to concentrate on first-year sires, horses whose colts would be coming up for first-year racing, and we decided on Constitution and Carpe Diem. I can't exactly give you exactly the reasons. It felt right, and so we looked at several horses, and he was one of the ones we picked out. And so the credit really goes to Dennis. I mean, he's the one that picked this colt out, and in fact, he's the one that said that when we sold the sale, went to the sale in Gulfstream, it was about $200,000, which the reports are the RNA. And he said, Bob, if you're not happy with this price, this is too nice a colt to let go, that you should race him. And so Dennis again. So I have to thank Dennis O'Neill.
And so then after you purchased him, did you put him into immediate training, or what was the process there?
No. In by the way, I should not neglect the part that Kathleen and I discussed this at great length. It was a mutual decision on what to do with this. He had a little shin problem, so we sent him to rest up for 90 days. And actually, he went to California right after the sale. And after his shin got healed and he was ready to go back in training, we live predominantly in the East Coast, and I wanted to see him race. So we moved him to Fair Hill, and we sent him back east, and we put him in training about mid-June.
And then I would assume that Parks was the next big place where you had your eyes open to?
When he was ready, yes. Mike Trombetta, our trainer, and I've used Mike for years back here on the East Coast. And, we looked around for the right race, and we would probably have preferred traditionally not to run him 7 furlongs, but that was the race that was available. And so serendipitously, we entered on Pennsylvania Derby Day. It was a maiden special 75,000, which was higher than normal because of the Derby Day. They increased the purses. And so we ran him there, and we drew the rail, 7 furlongs, first out. We thought we had a talented colt, but we frankly didn't expect to see what we saw.
And then I said the Nashua Stakes. That was a couple weeks back. The Jerome was just over the weekend. My apologies for that. The Nashua, you really must have came out of that race knowing that you had something because he set the record. I think he won by 12 1/4 there, and it was just a gallop. It's just one of the most impressive, one of the fastest buyers, if not the fastest buyer of the year. I know that we looked at the Ragozin, what he ran on the Ragozin sheets. You and I talked off the radio, and we said that maybe it was a 2 or a 3, but it was just eye-dropping and jaw-dropping, to say the least, when the numbers came forward with his performance in the Nashua, that Grade 3. You had to really feel then that this was the real deal. This colt was on the heels of some great antics and a great future.
Well, we did, and in comparison to the first race where he got left in the gate, came around the outside, picked up horses along the way and closed. We were encouraged by that. And then in the Nashua, where we went off at 9-1, he went right, he got a good break, and Jose Ortiz just let him go and kind of went right to the front. And then when he opened up, you're right, Kathleen and I were dumbfounded. I mean, it was the chill. I can still feel it, the chill that happened.
Well, you're a great partnership of Kathleen, your lovely wife, who is a byproduct of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and you from Philadelphia, the Pennsylvania couple that have been involved in thoroughbred horse racing for many, many years. It is just so warm and enlightening to see that you have a colt that could bring you a lot of excitement for all the efforts that you put in to horse racing. I want to get back to the breeding element of this fine colt. Constitution, our colleague and associate, Toby Terrell, has been tipping his hat. Even Larry Zapp, I have to shout out for Larry Zapp as well, because Larry Zapp was talking about Constitution about 6 or 7 months ago. The dam is a Kalari cat, I believe, and whose dam is Desert Stormette, whose Desert Stormer won the Breeders' Cup. So, and then you read where my friend in Vegas broke down, all this Secretariat stuff and all the breeding on that line, where that this the bloodlines of this Independence Hall is very fluid. Do you still find things out to this day that you didn't have any idea in regards to the breeding?
No, I think we probably didn't get as in depth as what you just mentioned at the time. I mean, we looked at the first dam, obviously, and then looked a little bit at the second dam. But when we went in September, we really looked at the athlete first. That's what we really looked at. And so, well-bred as they may be, and we know there are a lot of well-bred horses that don't pan out to what their breeding is. So Dennis looks at the athlete first. I mean, he picked, I'll have another. The Flower Alley, what was that, And then, of course, Nyquist and kind of put Uncle Mo. So that's what Dennis does. And And that's what he did here. It's always nice to know that you have that in the background if the horse turns out to be and have the potential that this one has, that you have some pedigree back there that could support a stallion if that's the way, God wants it to be. But I can say we looked at the first dam, paid attention a little to the second dam, but it was more about the athlete. I'd be lying if I told you we did an in-depth pedigree analysis. That usually comes after they're successful, and people say, well, of course, we looked at the athlete first.
I was watching slow motion in the Jerome. I mean, this is one muscular equine. He is built to the hilt, so to speak, and he acts the part. I know, he was temperamental and he was rambunctious, to say the least, but when he got to the track, it seemed like he settled down. And one thing, the negative checkpoint that I will put on this colt as we look forward is the fact that, this is twice now he did not break alertly. And I think Ortiz, I read the reports that Ortiz says his head was tilted to the side when the gates open up. So, and he still maintained that disappointing start, and he rallied. And once he got up to the leader, I mean, the Jerome wasn't as star-studded as the competition he'll start meeting here up next and moving forward as we move into January. Let's go up to Santa Anita. Larry Zapper, Bob Verratti. You talked about Constitution. Independence Hall is the real deal. He's 3 for 3. Let's only hope that he continues to improve and gets the Verrattis and their connections into Churchill Downs in Louisville the first Saturday in May. Take it away, Larry.
Hey, Bob, congratulations. What a run. I mean, this is just a fantastic story. I ran into you at OBS April where you sold a horse, I believe by Carpe Diem, really, really well, but you told me about the Constitution you bought back, and I went back immediately and watched it freeze, and I remember finding you and asking you, and you were telling me, and I've read recently, the horse was a little shinny, so people want perfection, and they were all impressed with him physicality-wise, but, when you there's so much to talk about, but the fact is, you and your lovely wife are going through the ride of a lifetime, and I really hope get you to that first Saturday in May. You've got good partners because we were partners with Eclipse on a horse filly named Pave. Aaron Wellman's a top flight guy, and I'm just here to tell you, I'm so impressed with this horse. He broke bad the other day. Ortiz kind of let him kind of pull himself up. He holds his head the right way. He's gorgeous. He's by the hottest sire in the land. And what else can you say except this has got to make you pinch yourself and. I hope you'll be in Tampa for his next race where he's at and just continue enjoying. You have so many high marks in your life. Just continue enjoying this moment, and let's hope this moment lasts for another year or two because this is a special horse. We're all enjoying him. He's obviously the best 3-year-old, just turned 3-year-old, anybody's ever seen in a race so far, and obviously more to come. We don't know who's going to show up, but continued success. I love you and your wife to death, and I'm rooting for you. So let's do this and let's continue with this ride because it's amazing.
Well, thank you, Larry. We are excited, and we'll try not to mess it up. I think as Aaron Wellman from Eclipse and said, I think the owners and the people mess up the horses more than anything, and we're going to try to avoid that. It was difficult for me. I was so enthusiastic not to run in the Remsen, but we think it was the right decision given the effort he had made in the Nashua, and we'll see. So, we are excited and appreciate your support.
Tommy D, the Verrattis, good friends of ours here on the radio program. I've known them for many, many years. I am excited. I videotaped every portion of the paddock as the horse was warming up, breaking from the gate, the post parade, what have you. It was just absolutely phenomenal to see this horse act up. I mean, really put on a show. I mean, it took literally 3 to 4 people to saddle this colt prior to the Jerome on New Year's Day. I believe it was New Year's Day. They run so fast over the last 2 weeks. I can't remember Saturday from Sunday or Wednesday from Thursday, whatever the case might be. But for Bob Verratti, if you would, please.
Hey, Bob, congratulations. Thanks for joining us, too. Constitution, unbelievable. 65 runners this year, 27 winners, and, you're on top with Independence Hall, so congratulations on that. My quick question would be how did Independence Hall come out of the Jerome Stakes? And the second part would be, do we have any idea where the horse will run next?
Yeah, thank you, Tommy. From all indications from our trainer, I talked to him this morning. He came out really fine, and he's getting his sunglasses and his suntan lotion out and getting ready to head to Florida. So that's part is pretty well set, and he's really he's really doing well. As to where we're going to go, I think what's already been talked about. Aaron mentioned something I know yesterday. Aaron Wellman of Eclipse that we're going to keep our options open at this point. As you might imagine, the logical thing to do, which we're doing, is starting from the first Saturday in May and working ourselves backwards and just see where the opportunities present themselves over time. He's already flown cross-country twice, so getting in a plane is not too tough for him. So I think, most of our options are open now. We'll just see what happens.
He's just really a sweet horse. I mean, you look at him, and he knows exactly. He was just trying to distinguish, was this a schooling or a race day? And he was intimidating. He was actually intimidating. Pointing to his next stop, Tommy D, as you asked Bob, February 8th is the Sam Davis, the Grade 3 at Tampa Bay. March 7th is the Tampa Bay Derby. So with success in the Sam Davis, I would think that the ownership would point to the Tampa Bay Derby, which is a month away. Talking about ownership of this colt, where's your better half this morning, Mr. Verratti?
She is right here.
I'm right here, Felix, listening to you as always every Saturday. How are you?
Good, darling, and just elated for you. How'd you feel after watching that? It was quite a show, tell you the truth. I mean, he put on a show. We want entertainers in horse racing. They want horse racing to be entertainment. We were definitely entertained.
I didn't feel entertained, actually. I was a little worried. However, he straightened out at the track, as you said. When it was time to get to work, he went to work, and it was a beautiful race, and the conditions weren't perfect. As you know, the track wasn't perfect. The weather wasn't great. It was wet. It was deep. But he came out beautifully. He ran beautifully, and he ran to form.
Well, a lot has been written, but a lot has been elaborated in regard to your comment, Kathleen. That track was completely different than the Nashua romp on Jerome Stakes Day. It was deeper, and did it seem like he didn't take to the track as he took to the track back on the Nashua Day?
Well, I think he handled it, yes. But, I mean, it affected, I guess, the length and how fast and the time. However, he adapted quickly and immediately. But there's no question that played into the time of the race.
Don't you think that his antics in the paddock were like intimidating for all the other horses? I mean, how would you like to run against a horse?
I don't know about that. Maybe to the other owners or trainers, but I just think 2 months between races was a lot for a rambunctious colt who was ready to race. Yeah,
he was. He was ready to race. Well, on to Florida in the Sam Davis, February the 8th, and then hopefully March 7th, it'll be the first of a Derby prep for him, which would be the Tampa Bay Derby. And then, he did receive 10 points for the win in the Jerome. So he's got points in order to qualify for the Kentucky Derby. And, it's only 10 points, but 10 is a lot of points right now because you're at the top of the heap.
Well, we're looking forward to it, Felix, and it's not for sure. I want to be clear. It's not for sure we'll do the Sam Davis or the Tampa Bay Derby. We'll figure that out as we go along. But Mike Trombetta has horses at Tampa Bay. He has them there every winter. Last year he had win in the Kentucky Derby, and he saddled him up at Tampa Bay. And Gulfstream gets a little crazy and crowded, so he thought Tampa Bay would be easier on the horse. And frankly, that's why we have him at Fair Hill. For those that don't know, it's an off-the-track several thousand-acre training facility reminiscent of Europe, and it's a little quieter there, and I think it's a little easier on the horse.
Well, I'll make the call here, okay? The play call is the Sam Davis and the Tampa Bay Derby, because didn't Twin Oaks, your partner in this colt, didn't they travel that same route to get to the Derby a couple years back?
Well, you know what? I don't know that. They had Destin along Twin Creeks partners. They owned Constitution, actually.
Right.
And I'm not sure if that's where they went. I know they had Destin. They were partners with Destin with Eclipse, but I couldn't tell you that that's the route that they went. But they're also from Louisiana, so they might have an interest in racing in front of their home fans in Louisiana. We'll see. We don't know.
Well, whatever it is, wherever the competition presents itself, and wherever the owners feel like you have an edge, you're going to move forward, and you're going to be able to race. I mean, is it Florida or Louisiana? Well, I mean, it could be either one, but nevertheless, you're going to be there. You're going to be a part of this field, and this colt's going to be reckoned with, and he's going to gain a lot of attention in regard for his romp. I just think it's a beautiful story for two beautiful people like you and your Kathleen, your wife. I only wish you the very best. I get really excited, and you told me about this colt before when he was running at Parks. We did watch the race at Parks. We watched the race at New York in the Nashua. We have seen the race in the Jerome. Hey, look, let's give this equine credit that is due. He's been pretty special in 3 races, and let's make sure that he continues to be special. With that, we'll say a very happy farewell to you on this Saturday morning, Bob and Kathleen, and thank you for joining us, and we'll keep our eyes open on Independence Hall.
Thank you for having us, Felix.
Thank you, Felix.
You're welcome. Our pleasure. That's Bob and Kathleen Verratti. It's a great story. It's a great story because, Larry Zapp will test. You go down to these sales, and, you kind of look at these horses, these colts, these youngsters that are in the sale, and you have to analyze, and you have to make an evaluation in regard to, does he fit, the profile that we have as our model? And, like he mentioned, like Dennis O'Neill, Doug O'Neill's brother, and Zapper goes down there, which, Zapper has a good as an eye as anybody I know in this business. And you have to make that decision. Unraced, you have to make that decision based on confirmation, maybe breeding a little bit, maybe past workouts, what have you. But, you really have to be concise. When they do this and you hit the bell, it's like having the winning card on the river. When you have the nuts on the river, you know how you feel. You feel pretty strong about that. You have to feel pretty strong about analyzing, developing, getting this colt ready for the races, and then blitzing the competition in the last 3.
I agree with you, Felix. This is something that, a lot of people don't see. It takes a lot to get these horses to the track, to keep them healthy, to keep them well-conditioned, and keep them all these obstacles that these trainers have to deal with to be able to get to these horses and get them training in the right direction, especially as these 2-year-olds, going into their 3-year-old year, Independence Hall, now 3, going for that Derby run. Everything, you got to pay attention to every little thing on these horses, and the best trainers, that's what they do. They're in tune with their horses. But, this is a great story. Congratulations to Bob and his beautiful wife. Independence Hall looks to be a strong horse moving forward here. As you said, some options moving forward. You look at a couple races that you could go into. You could go into the Sam Davis. You get 10 points there. But if you're really feeling good about your horse, you could also go to the fairgrounds and run and get 50 points. That's the Risen Star on February 15th. So you got to pay attention. How's the horse doing? What horses are going to what race? All this matters, especially in the Derby prep, Felix.
Yeah, without any question. That's a big deciding factor that you just brought to the forefront. You run into Tampa Bay, Sam Davis, it's only 10 points. You run into Risen Star, that's 50 points. And basically, 60 will get you, I think 60 will get you into the Derby. I think 22 was the bubble last year, if I recall. But nevertheless, and getting back to this story is that, like, he might have sold this colt because he had shin problems. He might have, felt that, this horse just isn't, worth it, and whatever the case might be. But you mentioned that, he takes the time into putting it in, took the time to getting this colt, to perform. And boy, I'll tell you what, just a little bit of compassion and patience pays off in a big way, because I think he's over 300,000 right now. And who knows, with Larry Zapp talking about the best sire in the land, Constitution, who knows what might take place. So, Zapper, it's what all pinhookers dream of finding that great, great athlete and getting him engaged.
Well, listen, Felix, this is the truth of it. Bob Verratti came on your show today and said, I wanted to buy young stallions, freshman stallions, couple horses, which he did, to pinhook, to resell. He sells the Carpe Diem for over $400,000, so he crushes there. This horse, he's intelligent enough to, A, go after the right kind of stallion, B, find the right kind of individual. Dennis O'Neil puts together a good team. I know some of the people who work with him, because nobody can do any of this by themselves. And bottom line is, they take this horse to Florida, have the horse with the top pinhooker in the game in America, Karen Dunn. They do everything right, but the horse gets a little shinny. He's smart enough not to let the horse go for under $200,000. I happen to know Kelly Breen was the only person truly pursuing this horse, but offered them like $185 or something like that. They said no. He wishes, of course, he would have just given them the $200. So a horse he's trying to sell, he can't sell, but he won't give it away because he believes in it, and the people who've been around the horse, very good horse people, believe in it. He ends up with the horse. He races it himself. The horse wins on Pennsylvania Derby Day, and the phone starts ringing off the hook. I even asked Dennis O'Neil if I can get involved after that maiden win at Philly Park. And Aaron Wellman jumped on it quicker than anybody, and the other people that own Constitution came in. And here's Bob Verratti saying, listen, I'll sell you the horse, but not the whole horse. I'm staying in for the ride of my lifetime. And here we are, 2 races later, everybody blown away by the 101 buyer, 11-length win. And then the other day, he walks out of the gate after all those antics, and he professionally pulls himself into the field, blows that field away, geared down. This is a special horse. He's special looking. He's inbred to Seattle Slew. He's got Damascus on the bottom. Constitution's turning the thoroughbred world upside down, and here we are, and they just have to get a little lucky because they have the goods, and it couldn't have happened to 2 nicer people. You know Bob and Kathleen Verratti better than anybody. This man loves the game. His passion is real for his family, the game of thoroughbred racing, and here we are today talking to them about the pro tem leader for the Kentucky Derby, which is not that far away. So just an amazing story, and we couldn't be happier for these people.
Amen to that, brother. And that's the way I feel. I'm all in, and they deserve it. And the ceiling isn't high enough. They could go beyond that, and just having some fun. After dishing out dollars and dollars, remember they brought a lot of horses to Bill Spar. Bill Spar trained a lot of horses. Bob Verratti has had a lot of horses, and what I love about the fact is that he hasn't forgotten about his partner in that. That's his wife, where they do everything as a partnership. Kathleen, who I've known prior to Bob, I met Kathleen first, and because her father was the editor of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette sports section, one of the greatest sports pages of all time. Kathleen Miller, that's right, she was Kathleen Miller, and then she met Bob Verratti from Philadelphia. So, that's the only bad part of it. He's an Eagles fan, and she's a Steeler fan, and, we got got to watch the Eagles play tomorrow, and the Steelers are on vacation. But it is a great story, and I'm happy for them because they deserve it, and it's good to see them enjoying a day in the sun. All right, what about the San Gabriel, which we take a look at here, which we take a look at on this Saturday? We take a look at the 8th race at Santa Anita, a mile and an eighth, a grade 2, 4 and upward, a mile and an eighth. What do you have in regard, Tommy D?
Yeah, so just a mile and an eighth. We're looking at what race is this? Sorry about that.
The 8th race,
The
Tommy.
8th race. Okay, I'm looking at Overdue here as my top choice here. D'Amato and Smith here. This horse going a mile and a half last time, going in the mile and an eighth now. Won 2 out of its last 3. D'Amato, Smith, 6-1. I think it's a fair price, so that would be my top choice. But you got to look at number 3, Cleopatra Strike. 93 speed figure last time out. You also have D'Amato, Cedillo. So I think one of those two could win this race. Maybe number 6, Majestic Eagle, 4th in the grade 2 Sea Biscuit. Look to have a closing foot there. So 4-3-6 is what I like here in race 8, San Gabriel.
All right, what about you, Zapper?
Well, there's no doubt Cleopatra Strike for 2 back. He got a little short at a mile and a half, and now he's back to a mile and an eighth. A distance he hasn't won at, but his last couple of races just point him out as the horse is probably going to get the right trip here. And I think he's the horse to beat, and I agree. The Majestic Eagle brings in some class. He's won a couple of times at the distance. You know, Tommy D's on it because Overdue is probably my 3rd horse. You know, you got a comebacker of Baltus, this Desert Stone, who I'm going to hopefully he needs a race. But for me, it's 3-6 in the San Gabriel.
All righty. Hey, before we get to any racing action, you guys have any opinions in regards to Wild Card Saturday?
Yeah, I definitely have a couple opinions here. Yeah, so the Bills looking pretty strong today. I like
Frank and Buffalo.
I like the under there. Yeah, Frank and Buffalo tuning in. I like the under there because the Bills' defense is strong. I expect Watson to throw a couple turnovers. So I think that's going to be tough. The Bills' secondary is going to be on top of it. I like the Bills there. And then also the other game I liked was the over in the Vikings and Saints. But I guess we could talk about that. That's tomorrow's game. But also tonight.
Would you say Titans and Patriots?
Titans-Patriots. That's a lot of people are on the Titans here, Felix. Believe it or not, it's hard for me to go on this one. I guess if I had to take one, maybe the over there.
All righty. Well, we're going to resume next Saturday. We're going to take tomorrow off here as I get a little bit better, as I've been under the weather for it seems like 2 weeks. And we'll put it all together here, get this great Saturday off and running. And hopefully I could dry up because it's been horrible and miserable. The Bills and the Texans today, 1:35 our time, and then the Titans go into Foxborough to play the Patriots. The Patriots in a wild card. That's like 100 years ago they were in that wild card. Double T is joining us. Double T, a Happy New Year, my friend.
Mega dittos to you, Felix, and Tommy D, and all the people listening in out here on this beautiful Saturday morning so far. It's certainly been a Happy New Year indeed so far for the great race place at Santa Anita.
So you got 4 main races in a row here. It's a main pick 4 when one stake race to make it a main 4 plus a stake race 5, pick 5. What do you have in the first 4?
Well, let's try to run the table if we can. And race number 1, number 3, El Go Franco, a very fast young horse here, a homebred product for Mr. Paul Redham. Mario Gutierrez in the saddle, and Mario not riding a lot of horses, Felix, but he's riding the right ones. I believe he's winning at an unbelievable 45% clip. Is Mario, and quite frankly, in this race, he is just on the fastest horse who's coming into the race sharp. Hopefully it's that easy. Number 3, El Go Franco, to kick us off on the 10-race card. Post time, I believe, is 11:30, so we don't have long till that opener. Race 2, a 5.5 furlong dash on the turf. Number 4, Fast Pharaoh. He showed how fast he was last time at Los Alamitos. Unfortunately, he got caught. I don't think he'll get caught today. Number 4, Fast Pharaoh, hopefully living up to his name in wire-to-wire fashion. Race 3, number 3, Mike Operator for Victor Garcia. This is a horse been knocking on the door for quite some time. Easiest spot I believe he's had in several races. So number 3, Mike Operator, looking good in race 3. Race 4 is a wide open turf race, so we'll take a shot. Go with the value. Young Leonard Powell. They call him Leo around these parts. He's got a live long shot in here called Bud Knight, and that is number 7 on the program.
All righty. So how do you see these 4 main races? And I asked Larry Zapp the question on the top of the broadcast, Double T. Is this a sign of things to come here? Or, you know, a couple weeks back you said there was a lot of main races and there was a shortage of horses. Are we going to see an overload of main races at Santa Anita here early on?
I believe we will. And we're just going to, you know, I believe this racing secretary, Mr. Lim, he's just going to throw out the races that look the best, pretty much. And if the maiden races card the best, we'll see them in consecutive manner. You know, I follow Gulfstream very closely these days, and they kind of have the same program there. In fact, even more so. But at Gulfstream, they run 10, 11 races routinely 5 days a week, so you get more of everything, really. But they do the same thing back there, and I'll tell you, Felix, it's been working for them back there. They continue to shine, and hopefully we will continue to shine. We're going to see a lot of maidens and a lot of turf racing.
All righty. So where's your best bet, Toby?
I like that horse in the first race quite a bit, Elgo Franco. I believe this horse is going to open up on the field. I love the fact that he comes into the race sharp with good, solid coat and flash. So let's try to kick off the day in a winning way here with Elgo Franco.
All right. Zapper. Where's your best bet, Mr. Zapp?
Well, sometimes best bet is not. I think Toby just gave us a most probable winner. I have to find value when I go with the best bet, and I'm going to go with a knockout punch, and that's race number 6, Felix. Number 5, 20-1, is Slew South for the very underrated and underappreciated Neil French barn. This guy broke from the 10-hole last time and got what we call the Overland trip. He only got beat 4 lengths. Very common race with a couple horses in here, including the horse that beat Scarlet Heat. But I just think from the 5-hole, if Velez, who's riding very good, can just get the right trip, I think this guy is one of about 4 or 5 horses, or this girl is one of 4 or 5 horses who can win this race. But a 20-1 morning line, let's go for the knockout punch. Race number 6, number 5, Slew South, for all the people looking for that price.
All right. I guess that leaves only one left, and that is you, Mr. Tommy D.
Yeah, I'm going to go to the last race here, race 10. I think this race is pretty wide open. I like the 10 and the 5, but 10 is going to be my top choice here. Silken Spy, Crew Jack, owner, trainer, by the factor, so the speed will be there on the turf. Number 10, Silken Spy, and if you want to throw another one in, number 5, anomalously in that race. But I think it's going to be a great race, great day of racing today, and we'll see that Kentucky Derby picture get just a little bit closer today.
Yeah, we will, and we'll see the 3-year-olds strut their stuff here at Santa Anita. As we wind down here, want to wish each and every one of you and your families a Happy New Year. To Wade Taylor and his family, a Happy New Year. To all our listeners, a Happy New Year. Frank in Buffalo, the Bills and the Texans. You know, I've been on the Bills bandwagon the last couple of weeks, and I want to hope that they could win because their defense has really improved, and McDermott has been just splendid for them. The Patriots, word is that the Patriots will be fined for their videotaping of the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, we've seen this movie before when they the Patriots videotaped the Jets. So now they're going after the Bengals, and they videotaped them doing your job. And it was a documentary that actually most of the feed, most of the tape, the shooting was on the sidelines of the Cincinnati Bengals. So we'll have Wild Card Saturday, and then tomorrow, I kind of like Seattle going into Philadelphia. That's my bet. But we'll cue it up next Saturday for you here as we all get warm in Southern California. And we will talk with you then. For Wade Taylor, Tommy D, Larry Zapp, Toby Terrell, the Verrattis, Kathleen and Bob, adios.
Have you tried DRF Formulator PPs at DRF.com? Take your handicapping to the next level with premium features not found in DRF Classic PPs, including one-click access to complete race charts, full-screen video replays with both standard and head-on views, add your notes for a card, horse, or trip, and access from any device. View Timeform US pace figures, get customized printing options, and so much more. Try DRF Formulator PPs today at drf.com/PPs.
Hi, everyone. Felix Taverna for Rough and Ready Moving and Storage. From down the street to across the country, if your move is too tough, you call Rough. That's my man, John Ruff, R-U-F-F, Rough and Ready Moving and Storage. Local or cross-country, military moves, corporate relocations, packaging, storage, they have it all in the Temecula Valley. That's roughandreadymoving.com. That's Rough and Ready, R-U-F-F, and readymoving.com. When you talk about San Diego legends, you got to talk about Big John at Tip Top Meats, a European delicatessen unlike anything in San Diego. You know, it's located in Carlsbad, and traditionally, it's been a fan favorite for many. Big John does it right. With the holiday season just around the corner, it's your best bet. Big John, Tip Top Meats, and top shelf fish. I mean, that's a daily double. You've been there, you know, it's legendary. The most trusted information provider in horse racing is now the leading logic in sports handicapping. The daily racing form has launched DRF Sports. Visit sports.drf.com to learn more and get the edge you need to win big. Access their exclusive database of trends and powerful angles for just $5 per week. And if you use promo code PENNY, you'll get your first week for just 1 cent. Visit sports.drf.com today. Hi, this is Felix Taverna, and I'm here to share with you a great place to begin your day, and that is the Broken Yoke Cafe. 15 San Diego locations to serve you. Downtown, Mission Valley, Bonita, East Lake, San Diego State, Point Loma, Mira Mesa, Del Mar, La Costa, Escondido, Oceanside, San Marcos, and Rancho San Diego. Benedict's, omelets, French toast, crepes, pancakes and waffles, sandwiches, wraps, burgers, soups, and salads. Start your day at the Broken Yoke Cafe.
Life is full of misadventures, from car crashes to home fires to getting choked out on the mat. Yes, I said getting choked out because I'm Carlos Kramer, jiu-jitsu competitor, MMA and media personality, and mild-mannered insurance agent. You can follow my adventures on Kick-Ass Radio, and I can protect you from life's misadventures at Kramer Insurance. Home, auto, life, business, and workers' comp. We're at KramerINS.com, and I want you to join my world.